Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As ladies and gentlemen, we're back with some bullish excellence today. As I'm going to be very honest with every single one of you, the tone of my channel has changed. While we've been in the bear market, and quite truthfully, throughout the course of the beginnings of this bull market. And the important reason for this is because the XRP army has been hurt thoroughly. The XRP community has been ravaged through corrupt lawsuits, battered and bruised by sentiment by maxis, and underwhelming price action. And as I'm a guiding light in this community, I have to say this right now. The 110% bullish energy is back in the air. I see the writing on the wall, and we're going to get into the exact plan that Ripple has been hiding from us for a long time. But first, I want to start off with this clip from Rob Cunningham showing Dr. Jim Willie and David Rodriguez discussing XRP rising out of the ashes of this financial system, and how, quite frankly, different people from different circles are all talking about the same end game. The reason for that is because truth is converging from different angles into the XRP perfect storm. And you all better realize that. The BRICS nations are going to adopt a new payment system, and 159 countries are going to try and go along in adopting this system. A pivot away from SWIFT, a pivot away from the dollar, out with the old, in with the new. And I think after the conclusion of this case, XRP is the new. And we're about to see it full force.
Wasn't planning on talking about XRP, but this is really relevant. Ripple Tech, which is the developing corporation for XRP, they've won every single frivolous lawsuit that the SEC has put through. And it's really quite funny because 2 cases ago, they determined as a ruling by the court that XRP is not a security. So it means it's not a stock and not a bond.
Right.
And the most recent case, the conclusion was it's not a currency either. It's not a stock, it's not a bond, it's not a currency, it's something else. Well, it's a value transfer vehicle. And that means it's probably going to be used at the highest level, country to country, in trade settlement. That's what I expect.
So,
and it's working its way up the.
So we're actually embarking on some exciting times. The old system's dying. We're going into the new system. You're very optimistic about this. And what we're watching with Kamala and Tim Walz and the whole financial system is the dead cat bounce or the dead cat roll. It's done.
Well, you could call it a dead. I wouldn't call it a dead cat bounce. I would call it going through the storm, and Trump calls it the storm. Okay. When you're in a storm, like you're at a baseball game, and oh my gosh, it's getting rained out. We got to get home. Oh my, I don't have a ride. I got to run home. You run through the storm. You get really wet. You get home, and you dry off.
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, for XRP, in regards to the storm, we have weathered it and we have run past it already. The XRP community, like Jeremy Hogan said, went through the storm in terms of regulation first. We got slapped with an illegitimate lawsuit, and we won at every single turn in this case. And now that XRP is free, the price action won't be suppressed based on speculation that we're going to lose, because we've won at every front. XRP liquidity is back, and this time around there's a narrative of real-world asset tokenization that I believe is what's going to send XRP to potentially over $100 this time around. It's not likely, but there is that type of upside, and I'm going to explain to you why. But first, here, the Black Swan Capitalist had an in-depth conversation with Jim Willie the man who you just saw speaking, explaining a unique perspective on XRP's role within the BRICS in order to corner the central banks into a new currency. And I believe there's a possibility XRP is going to be used in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the storm, in the heat of these currency exchange revolutions, in the head of World War III, and in the head of all this turmoil.
XRP is gonna be like an alternative gold solution. I believe the United States is going to go dragging, kicking, screaming, and killing. And they're not going to want the BRICS gold token, but they're going to accept the XRP. And they're going to tell the U.S. citizens that it's not gold backed, and they will lie. That's how XRP is going to be used. European nations will use it as a compromise. The United States might use it as a compromise. And wherever it gets used, you guys, it's not going to go away. It's going to grow and not go backwards. That's how it goes to $100, $200, and maybe $500. You're going to block SWIFT usage for trade settlement. We'll go to XRP as an alternative.
Now, is that right? My friends, we for the first time in history have witnessed gold pass $2,500. What do you think that says to the health of the underlying economy? It means it's really bad. Here, it's being stated that the IMF has stated for digital money to have true value, it must be gold backed. Anything else is just a fancy form of rebranding. I believe there will be a moment in time where XRP does transfer the value of gold. But make no mistake, that does not necessarily mean a gold backing. XRP will not be directly pegged to gold. But it will enable a gold-backed future. It will enable a gold-backed XRP. And I continue to point to the fact that Ripple announced tokenized gold coming to the XRP ledger this year. What do you think it's all about? Precious metals in your XRP are going to the stratosphere. And the rest of the world is asleep at the wheel. And you want to know the truth? Ripple's been hiding the truth. They don't want you to know. And that's because they've been working with the system since day one. There's a reason there's 1,700 plus NDAs between Ripple and major banks, FIs, companies, likely governments, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They're not going to send you an email about XRP. They're not going to let you know the date this thing takes off. You just better be in before the price leaves these levels, because people will be lining up at $2 to buy XRP, at $5 to buy XRP, understanding what its true value really is. But you have it right now, 2 for $1. And you're questioning whether or not this thing is going to move. Well, let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that the man that predicted the exact day Terra Luna and FTX would collapse and made an absolute killing off of trading XRP during the bear market is letting you know we are still on track for the 2017 March move XRP was destined to make. Get in now. These are your last moments. I can't stress this enough. The 5-point pattern is repeating. And the XRP adoption narrative is going to reach its peak shortly. And a big reason why is because there's confirmation that real world asset tokenization is coming for XRP.
Payments is really broad, so it's really anything that needs fast settlement, and the next wave of growth I really see in real world asset tokenization. We have customers like HSBC, DBS, the biggest bank in Singapore, DZ Bank in Europe, and they're all entering the space to tokenize a variety of assets like money market funds, sometimes real estate, gold, other, and they all need fast payments and settlement, and that's where I think the next trillions of dollars of growth will come to the industry.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, why do I constantly bring up the narrative of real world asset tokenization in this video? Because we started the video with Jim Willie discussing gold, a gold backing, the BRICS system, pivoting away from SWIFT. How are we going to do this? Ladies and gentlemen, we have tokenized gold being built on the XRP ledger. We have treasury bills about to be tokenized on the XRP ledger. And here, with Zoth being secured 4 million to build DeFi yield infrastructure with real world assets right here on the XRP ledger, do you get where real world asset tokenization will take us? Because I certainly do. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a conversation with Crypto Eddie, and I posted that video on my YouTube recently. I highly recommend you all watch it. And me and Ari discussed why the XRP ledger has not seen the volume we all expected, why XRP is not appreciated in price like plenty of us have expected. Where is mass adoption? Where are the banks? Ladies and gentlemen, they have not adopted XRP for payments yet. But I believe, despite the fact that the banks are slow, they will be adopting XRP for real-world asset tokenization. That may very well be a bigger market. And I'm excited for the play we're about to make.
David has said that the banks really don't have quite the incentive to change. When I can think of so many examples of what I've heard. When Cassie Craddock is her name. She's been with Ripple. She's in the EU and she's been with Ripple for nearly 7 years. She said that, it was very difficult to even get the banks to return their phone calls when they first started selling. They were really selling a future hope that the bridge currency for XRP was going to be adopted by the banks. And she said the banks just really weren't that receptive. She said, but now those banks and she just said this about 2 weeks ago, she was at Money 2020 in Amsterdam when she gave this interview. She said that now those banks that didn't call them back in the past are now calling them because they're super interested in tokenization. So I think all that work that they did and the relationships that they built, even though maybe they didn't adopt the payments part of their story in the past, they did have, they were able to establish relationships. And I think that you're going to see the tokenization for the banks become a really serious use case. And now that they have the custody arm by acquiring Medico, this is going to bring the company a lot of money. So they'll be able to make money on the reserves of the stablecoin. They're going to make money on the custody. They're going to make money on tokenization. I think the bottom line, the company itself, Ripple, is going to become very profitable very soon. And that's great, especially if you're a Ripple shareholder. But your original question is, why didn't the banks adopt that technology? They're slow and they're conservative, and they really didn't have the incentive to really change. They were passing on those costs on to the consumers, right? And so they also, some of them the largest banks had figured out how to make money on those Vostro accounts. And so, it's, it's okay though. I did see really interesting interview from Jeremy Allaire. Listen to this, Bull. There is, 100 trillion in market in terms of addressable market for the electronic money, which includes stablecoins. 1.5 trillion of that is in the utility of payments. And I just boom, wow, you're kidding me. So we've got another play because XRPL is really a wonderful technology for payments. If that is true, and of course with the launch of the real USD, both on the XRP ledger and Ethereum, but if we get a sizable share of that market of 1.5 trillion in the revenue that's thrown off of the payments of that $100 trillion addressable market, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of impact.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is truly unbelievable. We're at a point right now where we have the legal clarity we need to thrive in terms of price action in this bull market. We have where the money will come from. We have every box checked, every I dotted, every T crossed, and people still question. See, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit of a visionary. And in being a visionary, you kind of have to see things for what they're going to be, not for what they are today. I don't give a damn if XRP is 50 cents today. We're in a holding pattern in the sky right now, about to take off into the stratosphere. One-way ticket to the moon. And it's not really a question of if. It's hardly a question of when. The biggest question I have now is how high this price is gonna fucking go. When generational wealth is an inevitability, what all of you need to do is plan for your new reality. Because people like Charles Gasparito will still be fudding XRP into infinity and beyond. He's been hating on XRP for the past couple months now, for absolutely no reason. And quite frankly, I've never seen anyone drop the ball as hard as he has. He was on the right side of history. And then you drop the ball mid-field on a fumble with a clear lane to the end zone. How could you be so wrong? I'm going to leave you with that conclusion for the day, as I give you all an important reminder to download your Merlin app, as I'm going to be using this app in my next video to show you how I'm formulating my exit strategy for XRP and how I'm planning to cash out in terms of different price levels. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tool similar to TradingView that I have in my tool belt for crypto and a crypto bull market that I think will maximize my profits and has definitely maximized my preparation. And as I remind you of that for the day, I'm going to remind you all that the link to download the Merlin app is down in my description below. And you absolutely must prepare for this bull cycle. Now guys, I'm going to leave you with Charles Gasparito, fudding XRP yet again, coping like many of the Bitcoin maxis will cope when its XRP finally takes off. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I think it's a dumb ruling, because when you really pick it apart, what she's saying is, and this cannot be allowed to stand, and that's the problem that this ruling has. She said that institutional investors, people who have bought Ripple institutionally, have there's a higher bar of disclosure for them than you do for retail people who would buy it in the secondary market. That's kind of like when you get through.
Why would you say that's different? I mean, because are you saying you agree with that or you don't agree with that?
I don't. And I think the problem with her ruling, again, just talking about the ruling and why I think it's probably going to be overturned. This is a federal judge in the Southern District who works with other federal judges. And I guarantee Judge Torres, who's not an expert at securities law, heard from these other federal judges. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this, just hear me out here, where they said your ruling essentially establishes a two-tier system for disclosure. You set a precedent here. One tier, you're saying the institutional investors should have came in and registered with the SEC. Anybody that bought it institutionally needed to disclose that sale, those securities. But you're saying anybody that bought it under, even if Ripple, and by the way, the way a bond underwriting works or stock underwriting, it generally gets bought largely by institutions and then distributed to retail. As you know, there's a small portion on an IPO that goes directly to retail. But in any event, in the way the securities laws are worked is that they're all about disclosure to the retail investor. And she literally said the retail investor didn't need that registration, which would be the disclosure. And I don't think that can stand.